Okay. So good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome back. I'm so sorry about the technical issues. So I'll just continue like that, whether it's hanging or not. So yes, talking about thriving beyond challenges. So we put out questions and to ask business owners what various issues they had concerning their businesses. Some said that they had issues concerning putting structure around their businesses. Others complained about it's been, if you live in Lagos, it's been raining for a while, and issues with flooding and customers accessing different businesses. Some people said that that was a major issue for them. Some people mentioned issues surrounding bookkeeping, while others mentioned issues surrounding structure. Some people also mentioned surrounding content and putting themselves out there, visibility, and a few other challenges. And so we decided that, okay, you know what, to help solve this issue, we're going to organize this webinar, and so that's why we are here. So we have two guest speakers that are here to talk to us. But beyond just talking, I hope that before the end of this webinar, and even after this webinar is over, that would pick a thing or two that we've learned from it, and we'll also apply it to our businesses, because it goes beyond just listening or hearing, but also applying. So if you want to thrive in your business, you have to apply everything you have learned thus far so that you are able to see results, right? So we'll be welcoming our very first speaker today to speak. We have Tayo Oshiemi. Please, if you can hear me, sir, please, welcome, welcome, welcome. He has a presentation that he'll be sharing with us today. So you are welcome, sir. Over to you. Sir, can you hear me?
Hi, thank you.
Hi, good afternoon.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here, everyone. It's afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, sir.
So I'll be sharing my presentation right away. But it's a pleasure to meet all business owners, entrepreneurs on the call. My name is Tayo Oshiemi, as our host has said, and I will be speaking in the next 15 to 20 minutes on what I've been asked to share. If you permit me, let me quickly share my screen and then I'll move forward. Now, please confirm if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen, sir.
Okay, beautiful. So I'll go right ahead. Let me make it full presentation. Can you see it fully?
Yes, we can.
Beautiful. So thank you very much again, and good afternoon, business owners, entrepreneurs on the call. My name is Tayo Oshiemi, and just as Courage has said, I'll be sharing with us very briefly. So let me tell you a bit about me, just so that you meet your speaker today. So I'm a management executive. I work in a company called Skilled Integrated Services. It's a 23-year-old sourcing and manufacturing company, and we're focused on three key sectors, which is education, humanitarian aid supplies, and corporate sector. So for the corporate sector, what we do basically is garment production and workwear. For the education sector, we provide end-to-end solutions in terms of educational resources. We're the leading supplier of back-to-school items in Nigeria, working with over 500 schools, and we have the biggest brand when it comes to school uniforms in Nigeria. Also in the humanitarian sector, we work with a number of international NGOs. On the side, I also founded an online school. It's an edtech firm that is focused on providing tertiary education. So what is the drive there? Our idea is that Africa needs a lot of capacity development if we'll be competitive in the global landscape. And so we decided to take on the challenge of providing education to young Africans and other people in other emerging markets with a view to providing flexible, useful, and very cutting-edge solutions in terms of knowledge areas that are now very, very useful for the work of the future. I also hold an executive master's program with Quantic Business School, and then I've also done a few executive programs at the Lagos Business School. I'm also a certified project manager. Now, very quickly, going straight into my topic. So again, let's take a look at the topic so that you recall that. So strategies and solutions for small businesses to thrive amidst adversity. And I'm going to be talking from an angle that will be quite refreshing and interesting here. And it's because over the last couple of months, I have been speaking to a lot of business leaders as I travel, locally and internationally. And a lot of the conversations are around how do you deal with a very turbulent economic condition? How do you manage as a business? What is the disposition or the attitude that you should take in terms of this kind of very volatile environment? So what we call this environment is what we call in consulting VUCA, which stands for 4 words, which is volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. So VUCA environment are environments where you cannot predict what is happening in the economy. Now, what am I going to be touching on? Very quickly, a snapshot of the Nigerian economy, because we operate business within a context. Business is not in isolation. You can't run your business and you're only thinking about your very small network or your very limited range of reach. Every business operates within the context of an environment, and that environment could be a city, could be a nation, could be a region, and could be international, okay? So we're going to be looking at 4 pillars here. Energy. For energy, we all know what has happened, so I'm not going to tell you the obvious, but we have seen a significant hike in energy prices, and that has significantly impacted on businesses because there's literally no business you can do without energy, without power. So that is very, very crucial. Forgive me, I think I need to put my phone on silent. Just a second. If you don't mind, give me a second.
Yeah, no problem, sir.
All right. So thank you. So energy, and that's a context that affects everyone, whether you are, running a salon, you're running a beauty parlor, you have a manufacturing plant, you're running a service, whether it's a hotel, you sell food, you're in transportation, whatever kind of business you're in, you need energy. And the impact that the escalating cost of energy has had on businesses remains a story to be told, because by the time businesses start to evaluate their cost of running by the end of this calendar year or financial year, depending on where you are, you will realize that energy will constitute a huge part of your operating cost, and that is going to be very significant in terms of profitability. Interest rate is also a very critical pillar, because within the context of business, it is expected as your business grows, you start to use what you call other people's money, which could be bank loans, which could be loans from lending houses, which could be, of course, individual loans from private money lenders. But whatever the choices you make, with the context of interest going up significantly over the last couple of months, with the monetary policy rates by the CBN constantly being changed, that is affecting businesses. We're seeing a significant rise in the cost of lending, and that is impacting on businesses, because then when your cost of money goes up, the likelihood of you making a profit at the end of the day is significantly reduced. In some cases, some business owners have complained to me that they're just basically working for the lenders or the banks. Foreign exchange, of course, also remains one of the most significant dragon or demon businesses are dealing with, because the volatility, more than even the price point, the volatility has been a major source of concern, because what then happens is that you might quote for an invoice with a certain exchange rate in mind, but by the time the customer is issuing you that particular purchase order, exchange rate has gone up, and your quotation is no longer a profitable one, and you have to either decline or make a loss. So this has become a major sore point and a headache for a lot of businesses. Inflation is also important. Inflation, of course, speaks to disposable income, which is the next thing. So when inflation keeps going up, what that means basically is that the price of items compared to the same time last year has gone up by X or Y. So inflation basically measures, the average price of commodities and goods within a particular economy. And that essentially has been going up significantly since 2022. I mean, before the election, we already saw a significant inflation of food. made more difficult by some of the flooding we saw last year. But post-election, the cash scarcity that happened between December and I think February this year, and all the drama that has happened within the Nigerian economic landscape has made inflation at an all-time high. As a matter of fact, inflation in September is 26.7, which is the highest rate since 18 years ago, meaning that the last time we hit an inflation of 26.7 was 18 years ago. You can imagine what that means.
Wow.
Now, again, disposable income is being affected. All of us understand what it is now to take 100,000 to the market in hopes to buy a few things, and you realize that what you get is even fewer than the few you thought you would get, because then each commodity has escalated significantly, some by 100%, 150%, 80%. Just before I joined the call, I was talking to my chef and he said, oh, the prices of items he bought last week or 2 weeks ago, a particular commodity has jumped up by more than 40%, just one item. So you can imagine that if I am going to buy, let's say 10 of a particular item, and the price goes up by 40%, the chances are that with the same amount, with the same budget, if my salary has not increased, I can only buy roughly 6 of that particular item. And that begins to affect the business that is expecting that I will buy 10 every month. You understand what that means? Now, the final comment here is government regulations. How is government regulation affecting your business? Some people assume that government regulations is just government regulation, but I tell you, government regulations affect every business. Regulations, for instance, affect things like, exchange rate, affect the MPR rate, affects imports, affects, things like movement of goods and, affects taxes, affects, permits that you need for your business, depending on the kind of business you run. For instance, if you run a business where you needed to, let's say, acquire a NAFDAC registration before you are able to push that particular product to the market, what is likely going to happen is that if the process for registration is very cumbersome, then it's going to most likely affect your business significantly, and then you could be delayed from being able to make market penetration. So what is my mantra? What have I been saying to business owners in the last couple of days to weeks? My mantra is this. The key is you need to survive first. Before we start talking about thriving, right? You need to survive first. And I'll say that very, very clearly and unequivocally. A lot of people are thinking, first of all, oh, how do I, do extra numbers this year? Except if you are in a business like FX business. Let's say you're a bureau de change, or you're in a business that is directly being impacted positively by what is going on currently in the economy. It's unlikely that your biggest headache is thriving. Your biggest headache is perhaps surviving. Because what has happened over the last couple of months is this. The working conditions in the economy is against profitability for your business because operating cost is going up. So that means your cost of logistics are going up, your cost of power is going up, cost of all the resources and commodities you need, cost of raw materials are going up, and you are there trying to run your business. Now, what else is happening? Your employees most likely are also asking for more, because guess what? They are also within this economy, and they're also struggling with the challenges that you and I are struggling with in the market. So what's likely happening is that they are also interested in you saying, hey, I'm going to increase your salary by 50% or whatever it is. So what that means also is that apart from your OPEX, your staff cost is also likely taking a hit because people want you to pay them more for the same exact services they were rendering to you just about 6 months ago. So what that means for you as a business owner is that you have taken risks, you're taking loans. The banks, don't forget, they are also coming for you and saying, look, we can no longer give you loans at 18 to 20%. Now it's 28%. So what that means is that ultimately everything is crushing the businessman or the business in the middle. And ultimately, your goal now is to survive. And I'll tell you why survival is my mantra as opposed to necessarily talking about thriving. One of the things you find out is that there are no situations where a season is permanent or in perpetuity. No season is in perpetuity. Every season comes and goes like a cycle. Life is that cycle that we would always find the peaks and the troughs the bullish market and the bearish market, the season of harvest and the season of famine. So we saw major famine in 2020. 2021, things began to rebound. 2022, things looked better globally. 2023, things are looking quite rough. There's wars, there are all kinds of things going on globally that is impacting on businesses, impacting on disposable income for families, affecting and thinning out the middle class. So what that means is that when we look at this season, if you have a long-term mindset, your strategy would be, let me survive this season and gather the capacity, the skills, the tenacity that I need to be able to thrive in the next season. Let me say that again. Let me gather the capacity, the tenacity, and the skills and resilience I need to be able to thrive in that next season when things will be buoyant. Now, please, if I have maybe 2 to 3 more minutes, just let me know. This is my last slide, by the way. I'm just going to talk through these points very quickly, and I hopefully would have impacted on us some ideas on how we can move things forward. One critical thing you need to do in this season of survival mode is to watch your cost. Now, that almost goes without saying, but that almost looks like a defeatist approach, because how do you watch your costs when you're not in control? How do you watch your costs when petrol is now, let's say, 625 or 650? How do you watch your costs when the foreign exchange naira to the dollar is $1 to about 1,300 naira? How do you watch your costs? The key is to begin to look at what do you not need that you have been doing that is nice to have, but is not necessarily fundamental to the survival of a business. You need to take those things out. This is a time where you go lean in terms of your approach. If you don't need to buy it, don't buy it. If you don't need to fix it, don't fix it. If you don't need to spend that money, don't spend that money, because you will need it for the rainy day. And this is indeed, in fact, the rainy day. Next thing I would like to talk about is vary your pricing. This is not the time to stick to your guns and say, it does not matter what the customer says, I'm not changing my price. You need to be flexible. And I'll tell you why. Sometimes what you do is you play the long game, like I said. It is better to have liquidity in your business than to run out of cash. I tell you, many businesses are going to have what you call shrinking working capital this season. And why? Because prior to now, if they were trading in, let's say, hundreds of thousands in terms of units of the inventory, this time around, they might find out that they're selling at a price where they cannot buy the same volume they were buying before. And what that means essentially is that their working capital is going to shrink. The size of their business will shrink. But what is more important is not whether the business shrinks or it stays big. It is whether you are selling and you have cash to meet your obligations. If vendors come to you, that's your suppliers, and they ask you to pay them and you cannot pay them, that's trouble. If the bankers say pay us interest, that is trouble if you don't have. If your staff salaries get due and you're unable to pay, that's trouble. So what you need to do is to make sure that you are selling. And when I say vary your pricing, I don't mean deliberately and intentionally hurt your business by taking, let's say, a loss. But if you can reduce your profit margins to be able to get more volumes out, you are better off having a higher turnover with a slightly lower margin than you have high margins but zero turnover. Nobody cares if you have zero turnover, because what that means is that you are sitting on your goods, and guess what? You can't eat it. You might say, let me wait on it. Let me wait till the rainy day when this thing will be, in demand. If you're lucky and you're in food commodities and you're waiting for December to sell your bags of rice, good for you. You are in luck. But if you're not selling anything that is seasonal like that, you might need to figure out, how do I sell this thing, do high turnover and lower margins so that I can turn over more. That's what you call inventory turn, and I won't be able to explain it because of time. But let me go to the next point. Revisit your value proposition. What that means essentially is take a second
Sorry,
look
sir,
at what.
please, you can explain it though, because I'm sure some of us don't know what it means. So please, you can give you.
So inventory turn essentially is a calculation in accounting that looks at your entire sales and then looks at the number of times you went back to the market. Essentially, it's calculated by looking at your total revenue over your what you call closing inventory valuation. Meaning, if you close the year, let's say with 100 million in inventory, meaning in your warehouse, you have 100 million naira worth of items, but you sold a total of 500 million that year. Your inventory turn is 500 million over 100 million, which is times 5, meaning you went to the market 5 times. When you go to the market 5 times like that, what that means is that you are better off, if you do the calculation, than somebody who went to the market once and sold 500 million. If you go to the market 5 times, meaning every 2.5 months thereabout, you go to the market and you buy and you sell 100 million and you sold 500 million at the end of the year, you are better off than somebody who sold 500 million only once in the year. Because in that particular situation, what you have done is that you have used a smaller working capital to sell a higher value. But the person who sold 500 million, let's say the items is worth 350 million. That means he had 350 million, he sold 500 million once. But you had 100, let's say 80 million, you sold 100 million, you bought another 80 million, you sold 100 million. You are better off than that other person in business, okay? So in that situation, you vary your margins, you vary your pricing to be able to get that inventory turn. The next thing there is revisit your value proposition. You might have thought that your business is, oh, my business is I'm actually selling, let's say, what? You're selling education. Let me give an example, a school. I'm selling education. I'm selling, education for, let's say, primary school students. You might realize that you're not only selling education, but in fact, what you're selling is that you are selling, comfort, and you are selling confidence for parents who are struggling with finding how they can raise their kids and how they can give them value. How do you differentiate yourself from the next school? You realize that when your conversation is that, oh, my value proposition really is I'm selling convenience to parents in terms of their childcare and raising their kids. So therefore, I'm looking at how do I retain their kids a little longer in school, provide them with some after classes, and make sure that parents can actually go to work, focus on their work, and come back around, let's say 4, 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock and pick their kids, and there's no stress. Now, you might argue that, okay, that's just an example I'm giving to you, that 2 people can be running school and one person just thinks I'm selling education and that's it. The other person says I'm selling education, but I'm also selling convenience for the parents, for the working parents, for the working mom and dad who are in Lagos, who are struggling with X, Y, Z. So it's important that you look at and reimagine the product you're selling. And that's going to help you with strategy. When you reevaluate what your value proposition is in terms of a business, it helps you with what's the winning strategy to change the competitive conversation. So 2 of you are talking about the same thing, but you've got a different value proposition. And when you engage the customers, they see value differently. So they're either able to pay you more or they're able to give you more business because you are selling a different value. The next thing there is reimagine also your customers. And this, I can tell you, that is so, so important. We're getting to what you call a sachetized economy, where people can no longer buy in bulk. Once upon a time, we could buy cartons, you could buy, baskets of tomatoes and blah, 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 and keep it in the freezer and use it over time. But right now, what you're dealing with is, look, let me just buy enough to last me for 1 week, or in many cases, even 1 day. And so there's a sachetization of the Nigerian economy. So if you have been thinking prior to now that, oh, my customers are the what you call high net worth individuals, are the high income earners, that is beginning to become a myth, because the reality is that high income earners themselves are also facing the same pressure we're all facing and beginning to rethink their luxury lifestyle. They're beginning to rethink their flair for the finer things of life and beginning to ask themselves, do I really need this thing? Is this thing going to make or my, is this thing going to kill me? If I don't have this thing, would it determine whether I breathe or I don't breathe? So you need to begin to reimagine what you're doing. Now, I'm not saying that people who are in luxury should not continue to sell luxury, but you need to you need to be quite aware that in this economy where there is significant thinning of disposable income, luxury becomes highly threatened because people don't have enough capacity for luxury. People are going for the essentials. So when you reimagine your customer, you begin to look at what is the lower spectrum of the current customer audience I serve. Is there a chance I can go back to value proposition, vary my product to begin to serve a lower spectrum where there's a wider net? What is happening, for instance, in our own business, that we're seeing a lot of schools losing students to lower end schools. We are serving the schools, but if I'm serving high end schools, and the high end schools who had 500 students last year had 100 student drop. I was talking to a particular member of the board of directors of a particular school, and he said that over 10% of their enrollment was lost this new session, meaning that if they had 500 students, only 450 came back. Over 10%. Now, by the time you look at 10% of your customers gone into thin air, ultimately, if I am a service provider to that end of the market, if I'm not thinking of finding a product that can service the lower end of the market, what is happening is that the capacity of my customers to buy volumes is shrinking. If I'm not reimagining my customer spectrum, then most likely my projections will be wrong. I'll be saying to myself, I sold 500 last year, this year I should sell 550. Normal projection. Businesses should aim to grow. But that 550 is a mirage because the real customers cannot buy 550. Rather, they're shrinking their orders, okay? So you need to reimagine your customer, reimagine the cadre or the category of customer that you are serving. Very quickly, also switch up your marketing. When I say switch up your marketing, you need to begin to think about marketing from a different perspective. People think about marketing only in terms of splurging money in the direction of marketing in hopes that something will come. So when you talk about digital marketing, for instance, it's a struggle for a lot of business owners because they don't understand it. I would say please invest time in understanding how to market your product online, because that is an area where the world is going to. Almost 60% of marketing budgets globally go to digital today. And the traditional channels are beginning to see a lower share of what you call marketing budgets for all organizations. But when I say switch up your marketing, there's something I've been telling my guys in the office, for instance. I've talked about what you call guerrilla marketing, meaning unconventional marketing strategy. This is the time to begin to imagine how you're approaching marketing. Don't think about marketing from the conventional lens anymore. Oh, I need to put out $100, 50,000 naira to pay an influencer to do this or to do that. You might begin to figure out that there are other ways in which you can market. And I'll give you a few ideas very quickly. Just this morning, I was talking to my marketing head and I was talking to her about some ideas. Let me give you a very quick example. So rather than pay an influencer, for instance, and this is just one example out of many. Let's say, for instance, my business was something to do with fitness. Let's say I sold sporting goods and I want to get an influencer who is a fitness expert to promote my brand. There's a way I can do it that is different from convention. Convention says, call the person's agent and say, okay, blah, blah, blah. Maybe it's Kate Henshaw I want to use. Kate Henshaw, please, I need you to promote my fitness gear. How much, blah, blah, blah. And say, oh, you have to pay me 2 million or 500,000 to do a shout out on social media. Guess what? Imagine if I was able to connect with Kate Henshaw, maybe by DM, and I'll say, oh, hey, would like to invite you for an online, let's say I have following, let's say 5,000 followers on my channel. Would like to invite you for an online Instagram live or Instagram takeover, whatever it is, for us to, to interview you for this and that. And the person says, oh, okay, I'll be happy to do that, because she thinks, okay, well, you're growing, you have some followers. Now, what happens is that if Kate Henshaw were to come online with you, most likely what's going to happen, our audience will come. Now, she's likely going to take that gig without asking you to bring money, or even if she's going to ask you for money, it's going to be very small for speaking or for interviewing her. You're interviewing. It's almost like you're doing, something journalistic. What will likely happen is that you have brought Kate Henshaw and affiliated her with your brand without necessarily paying her influencer fees. You see how that works. So you need to start thinking about ideas, and there are many other ideas you can think about. So switch up your marketing and make sure that your marketing is not the conventional, throw money at every problem in hopes that some customers will come. Because what's happening right now is that even Google themselves are saying, look, my guys were telling me just this morning that, their agent with Google, who is the account manager, said, look, right now there's a lot of, volatility in the market. So adverts are not converting as much. So if you're throwing money at adverts right now, you may not get as much value. That is Google telling you that you need to calm down, okay? The next two things very quickly: engage in creative funding. Now, most businesses or most business owners, when they talk to me, is like, oh, we need funding. How do we get money to run our business? You hear that all the time. And a lot of times, people just assume that it's a money first problem. Oh, I need money. I have great ideas. I need money. But I tell you this, money follows great ideas, and money follows great executors, and money follows courageous believers and business people. So you need great ideas, yes. You need to be great on execution, and you need to be very courageous. When you have those three things, money will find its way to you. But let me quickly say this. Creative funding really means that you may not be thinking about the conventions. Let's say you've engaged microfinance banks, you're struggling. You might begin to look at, how do I work with my supplier to move the conversation from, oh, let me pay you upfront, to what you call sale on return. How do I find ways to fund this particular project of mine or this inventory bill of mine without necessarily needing to loan money? How do I partner with the right people who have the right kind of resources and we can co-share? So it could be co-sharing a location, it could be co-sharing power. So if you're co-sharing power, for instance, how many of you have heard about ride share? Ride share, where if we're going the same direction every morning, let's say we live in Yanakwada together and we're going to Ireland every morning. Do you know that, my family is lives back in Dubai. Do you know that in that particular community of ours, there are parents in our building, our apartment building, where these are Indian families. This week, you are the one taking all our kids to school. Next week, I'm the one taking all our kids to school. I found that very interesting and very amusing. But the truth of the matter is that it saves costs. We're both going to the same school. We've got 4 kids, you 2, I 2. One car can take all 4. Why are we both driving in the same direction and wasting fuel? And we know each other and we say hi to each other every morning. Okay? So imagine that. But a lot of the Africans, Nigerians, business owners around this part of the world, sometimes we're not as open to look at collaboration. So you can find ways to reduce your costs, can find ways to fund by coming together and buying in bulk together if you're going to get some sort of discounts or negotiations by volume. Okay, the last thing there is take it to the streets. Take it to the streets. This is about distribution. You cannot do your business in silo. You cannot do your business thinking about only your family and friends and everybody that is in your phone network. Take it to the streets. It's time for you to get your business out there. What are some of the ways you can take it to the streets? Ladies and gentlemen, get out there and attend industry events that relate to your business. Get out there and join meetings like this that allows you to network and meet with people. Get out there and anywhere there are customers aggregating. It doesn't matter if they're your kind of customers or not. Get out there and see how you can interact and meet with them. What is going to happen is that as you interact, as you meet with people, you'll find other ways in which you can get your business or your value proposition, your services out there in the hands of other people. So thank you very much. I've taken a lot of your time, but I'll stop here and hopefully we can engage a little further with questions, if any. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Please, you can connect with me on LinkedIn, search my name, Tayo Shiami, or send an email to me on the, the email shown on the screen. So that's ways in which you can connect with me. Thank you very much, Courage, our host.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tayo Shiemi. You actually shared very valuable insights and we are really grateful. But please don't leave yet. We'll have a question and answer session after the second speaker comes on board. So thank you very much, sir, for your time. We really appreciate you. Please stick around and thank you very much. So our next
sorry, 1 second. I'm so sorry.
All right,
I'm going to have to drop off the call at exactly 1. I have a graduation ceremony that I need to attend. So you would please indulge me. Thank you very much. But I'll be here until that particular time. Thank you.
Okay, so should we do questions and answers? Does anybody have questions for Mr. Oshiemi? Please, if you do, kindly type them in the comments. Please, if you do, raise your hand or just type them out. I'll read them out to him. Okay, so just stick around. If anybody has questions, I'll let you know.
All right.
Thank you very much. So our next speaker is the online banker. Online banker, welcome. His name is also Stanley Onora. Please, I hope I did not murder your surname. Welcome, the online banker. Welcome, Stanley. So glad to have you. So over to you.
Can you see me? Can you hear me?
I'm not sure about seeing you, but I can hear you clearly.
I don't know why I missed Mr. Tayo's presentation, like most of it. Mr. Tayo, if you can hear me, you're amazing. Thanks for the insights. I picked 1 or 2 things from him. Thanks for the insight.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so I'm going to just read a brief profile of the online banker. So the online banker, also known as Stanley Onora. Sorry, I don't know what to pronounce your name wrongly.
You're getting it correctly, so don't worry.
Okay, great. So he is, sorry. Okay, so Stanley Onora, also known as online banker, he's a seasoned banker with over 10 years of experience in various banking sectors, including commercial banking, microfinance banking, and development finance. He exhibits a strong passion for MSMEs, fintech, and the economy. One noteworthy aspect of his dedication is his willingness to impart knowledge, also teach without a fee. So please make welcome the online banker.
Thank you.
I did all of this presentation at first. My laptop was hanging and technology wanted to embarrass me. God is greater. So over to you, Stanley. Thank you.
Thank you. It's good to be here with you today. Um, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
So, today we're going to be speaking on adapting to the economic challenges. You know, adapting to economic challenge. Small business owners here, I'm sure most people here are thinking of how they can mitigate the risk in their businesses today because everybody's seeing shake. I'm not seeing shake from petrol. You're seeing shege from the increment in utility bills from light. I don't know what states you're in Nigeria that you are listening from. Maybe your local government has imposed a new form of levy to get money. So most of those challenges that are across board. I was listening to Mr. Tayo, and he shared some really. That's why I said I missed the earlier part of his presentation. I hope I get a slide, but he shares some really insightful things for most businesses. But how can you mitigate? How can you thrive today in today's business world? How can you navigate in today's business world? So you have the dollar prices, that the dollar that is going to 1,300 rushing towards 2,000, and you are looking at your business. If your business is import dependent, you're looking at it and saying, oh, how can I even survive? Is it I'm going to close shop and all? One of the things that I would like to share with everyone is you need to know this is a time for you to think about your business differently. This is a time for you. As the world, what it means is for every one of us that is on this call is that we should start to look at ourselves as global citizens. You own a Facebook account, you own an Instagram account or TikTok or whatever. The same access you have is the same access somebody in the US or somebody in the UK has. They can sign in, they can post, they can make tweets, and they can make videos. You have that same access. In fact, some people even use better phones than people in the US because there's an iPhone and Samsung craze in Nigeria. So you have that access. So you stop looking at ourselves as a global as a local factor, more or less like a global fact, a part of a global economy, in the sense that your business now is being affected by what is happening in the US. Part of what is wrong with the Nigerian naira is not aside all that the government is not doing correctly, is that the US dollar is strong. It's not just that the naira is weak, but the US dollar is strong. So as the US dollar is strong and bond yields are growing in the US, people, if they were to give you the option of investing in Nigeria for returns or to invest in the US for returns, you would definitely pick the US over Nigeria. What that does for a business is that you are now playing, you now have competition from people that are not in Nigeria. So how can you leverage your business to attract people that are not in your local community? So that comes up to the type of customers that you have. Are your customers only within your locality? Are your customers, if you, I don't know what store that I will use now. I would like to pander to women and speak about hair because some women say that wigs make them happy. So I would so I'll try to speak to wigs, for example. The things that you're sourcing them probably from China or from some other country that is not Nigeria. Why are you selling to only people? Why are you bringing that product straight to Nigeria only? What happened to opening up other stores that's what happened to opening other stores that you can have access, same global access, that you can sell to Nigeria and open different the Shopify, there's Amazon, there's Konga, there's Jumia. Those stores are there for you free to open an account and be a reseller. So while you have your local store here that you sell the same quality of hair, why can't you sell that to somebody in Ghana using a link that the person can buy from you from Amazon? So we, as a business owner, especially for small businesses, which is a mistake that a lot of people make. I go open shop, I get shop, I open shop, I come in the morning. If customer no come, I close for nights. The next day again, I open shop, I run gen, I pay sales girl. The next month, I repeat the same thing. Yeah, at the end of the month, I've made 50,000 naira. Cost of running the business, 75,000 naira. For women, their husband will give them the 20,000 naira. and business continues, you're in a loss. So looking at yourself as more of in a global economy rather than I don't know, said you can't see me. I'm trying to turn on my camera and it's not coming on. I don't know what's but please let me just continue.
Okay, no
So
problem.
and
Continue. Thanks.
okay, and then closely related to that is because I'm speaking now to some of the businesses that are affected by what is happening currently. So I don't speak about like your day-to-day running of activities. Those ones will speak, but some of the factors that are currently affecting everyone is the impact of the international or what is happening on the international scene on your business. Then, secondly, closely related to that is import substitution, which a lot of people do not look at. If you hear import substitution, you say, big word, oh, this one, which one be import substitution? I beg, that one na for Dangote, oh, that one no be for me. Oh. But look at your business and how are you looking at what you're selling, whatever it is that you sell? How are you looking at an alternative to the expensive form with similar quality? It might not necessarily meet 100%, but with similar quality that you can source locally. That is something that a lot of businesses that, for some of the people that buy things from outside can leverage on. And I like to use the example of like Technophone. If anyone here remembers when Techno came out, so many people will not buy a Technophone. You will not use a Technophone because Techno are for people where if you have 6,000 naira, then 5,000 naira you can buy a Technophone. But Techno right now is producing as high-end phones, maybe not in the same research and development as maybe like Samsung, but they are already up there, crossing the African continent, across different localities. You see more of, I would say there's more of a spread for Techno phones than an iPhone, even if iPhone is more of a prime product than Techno, but they have a wider spread because they understood from the grassroots up. And that's the same thing with some of the import substitution product that you can get. How are you leveraging whatever you're selling that is within your locality that you can source more affordably and sell in a greater scale? So see what you're doing. You are holding a pipe, for example, and the supply that is coming into your pipe, into your this thing. You've carried the goods coming in, you've gotten it cheaper. So you've made money from there, you've reduced your cost from there. Then you've amplified how you are going to be selling. So if you're selling to 10,000, if you're selling to 100 people in 1 month before, you're selling to 50 people in 1 month before, or 10, depending on the type of products that you sell. By the time you try to leverage other forms of technology in terms of social media, in terms of stores, in terms of using, like, Tayo was mentioning about, I heard him talk about adverts and all that. Then, how to use influencing, how to create videos for yourself, using yourself to sell your product. So if in terms of using all those avenues, in addition to maybe like physical stores that a lot of people do have, how are you going to use that to spread to more customers? Because at the time when you cannot you cannot reduce cost from the variables that are within you. For example, maybe electricity bill has gone up. You know that you can't disconnect yourself because you need that too. But if you sell to more customers and then you can mark up more prices, you can recover from that cost that will take care of that business within the short term. And like every economic downturn that comes up is like a bumpy ride. It goes up, it comes down. Bad times don't last forever. So while you can move with this wave at this particular time that is challenging for you, it's very crucial that you adapt things like technology, because I'm becoming online banker because I believe very much in the online world, in the online space. When last did you see Davido? When last did you see Burna Boy? You've not seen them probably, but you've seen them on the internet and you feel very connected to them because the internet is real right now. So leverage that for your business. And it's not particular to any sector. You can do amazing in any sector. I would use, for example, if I sell tires right now, if I was someone that sells tires for cars at the moment, the way that I will selling my tires will not be about selling tires. I will go and carry tire. Every day I'll carry tire, I can put flowers on it and be dancing with tire. and be making videos from it. And it's going to be such a novel thing because nobody's dancing with tires and dressing tires in a way that, that is funny. But that way I have become unique in the sale, in my sale. And everyone that comes up to me is going to, and then I'm preaching that I sell the best quality tire. By the time I've preached that message consistently for 1 year in that format, I'm going to garner. Sorry, I think my internet just skipped a bit.
No problem.
No problem. All right. I don't know where you guys lost me. I was talking about tires and how to sell tires, for example.
Yes, that's where we lost you.
Okay. So I was mentioning that if I was to sell tires, I would sell in a very creative way, in ways that ordinary people will not sell. And that is something that you can leverage on for your type of business. And I say this because I know that for statistically, it's proven that the number of small businesses to large businesses are more. So I'm speaking more to small businesses. The bigger corporates probably are not here, but smaller businesses can leverage some of these ideas to sell some of their products in ways that are not conventional, because sales is the lifeline of your money, is the lifeline of your business. As your costs keep going up, you need money. Either you can mark up or you can get more customers to turn over your business to keep it afloat. So how are you selling? How are you selling? How are you marketing yourself? Now we then go to, like, the bookkeeping and being able to manage your cost, being able to manage your expenses,
Which is
and
why we are here.
yes. So now for a lot of businesses, there are solutions everywhere for small businesses. In terms of apps, I could recommend some, from HR, from managing your HR payroll to being able to document. I have inventory. Do people know what their inventory is and when it's going to finish? If you notice a supermarket like ShopRite, I'll use ShopRite for example. For every item that they deduct from every item that you buy, they have a catalog of what they know that they need to replace at the end of the month. Does your business run on that format, that you know that I have an inventory of everything that is going off, how much is going out at, how much I bought it at, how much I've sold, how much I need to replace it at, so that I can make the same margin of profits the next time? It's not, Oga, said 2.5. I said 2.5 last. You've not made sales for 2 days, so I beg myself, make I do this thing. Can you replace that inventory? So now these apps are giving you some of that solution, that you can easily manage your expense. You know exactly how much left, your account, and you know exactly how much you received. You know exactly how much you paid in terms of, if you buy recharge card, you put it there. If you pay for hair, extra hair, if you buy food, that food that you're eating while you're in your business is actually your business food. So don't take it. It's not personal. It's not miscellaneous. It's for you. It's for you yourself. It's your business. So a lot of people, what they do is that by the time they buy airtime, or they buy food, or they take transport to their office, they categorize that as personal expense and they don't include it in their business. You'll notice that that's a business cost under your business, and you're supposed to expense it. Unfortunately, Nigeria is not a place that we pay taxes, that we document our taxes. If we did pay taxes and we needed to remit tax adequately to the tax authority, all those things are supposed to be deducted at tax deductibles, because they are expenses from you. You're supposed to even deduct that when you're preparing your books. But everybody just, oh, okay, I'm spending, I don't even know how much I'm spending to go to work, but this is how much I've made. That work you are going to, that business you are going to, is supposed to fund most of those. And if you have your brother or your sister that comes and they're paying, that is taking you to, that person is an employee, even if you're not paying salary. Are you documenting that as an extra cost? By the time you look at some of these things, there are some businesses that should not be running, and there are some businesses that should pivot to something else. By the time you look at your business book, you're supposed to see, oh, at the end of the month, and I mentioned something when I started, that some people, their husbands or their wives are the ones keeping the business, if not without them. So at the end of the month, they incurred 80,000 naira, as running costs for the business while they only made 50,000 naira, and they've consistently done that. Over the months. So you see that they're not living off the business. When they want to replace, even when they want to stock up their shop, they go back to that person, business was not good this month. I beg, give me 200,000. Let me use it and buy back goods. So you are there expending energy. So now within your business, what are the most profitable lines? Are they, you sell 3, 4, 5 items? What are the things that everybody is buying? Look into that to try to streamline how you can put more effort. 80-20 rule. How can you put more effort to that thing that is giving you 80%? It's not that they know you for everything, but at the end of the month, everything still did the shop, but only that one they come out. How are you looking at that one where they come out, at amplifying it and seeing how you can make more sales from that particular item? And I say this for small businesses now, because in day and time where we are now, you could do a lot of things. You could have like a line of business. Dangote has Dangote refinery. And from Dangote refinery, he has diesel, he has petrol, he has fertilizer, so you can count the number of things that are from one derivative, from one this thing. And for you as a business owner, if you're looking at your products, have you built your care that you can take care of and put into your business? Have you built yourself into that place that, like I said, about using creative ways of selling your business, that people want to then learn from you? Oh, I want to even have a store like this. How can I learn? How can I offer advisory service? Advisory service may be 10,000 naira. Okay, I will teach you, but okay, you pay me. I do small consultation. It's 20,000 naira. It's additional income to your business. You have not stressed for that one. It's just the knowledge that you have from running that business and the mistakes you've made. Then some people can even become mentors. Some of them even start to even buy from you. So that's an additional sale. So how have you looked at the downline from that particular business and created multiple streams from that particular business? It's very important. And you need to work with data. What is the thing that is selling the most? How are you selling it the most? What is working for you? Are you documenting that? Do you know that? Or is it vibes and inshallah, as they used to say it in the pop culture space? Is it by the grace of God? Every day is by the grace of God. No, the grace of God there is there for you, but what are the practical approaches that you have? So these are some of the ideas that I wanted to just share. And I just want to get to give free feedback from some listeners.
Wow, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Online Banker. And it's amazing that everything he said is what we do here at Luca Africa. So please, as we are still talking, please go to your Google apps, download Luca Africa. You just Luca on Google Play Store. Please download Luca. Luca is here to help you manage your inventory. We have staff management, everything he said about keeping track of expenses and income and inflow, and even seeing if you're making sales and seeing what particular product sells faster. We do that here at Luca. Also, just to add, thank you so much, Online Banker. So just to add to what Online Banker said, thank you so much for sharing those insightful things that you shared to us. We'll definitely run with it. If you have questions, please type them in the chat box, or you can raise your hand to ask if you have any questions. Please, as we are still talking, please go download Luca. Thank you very much. And also to add to what he was saying, it's very important that we understand if there's even a market for the business that we are doing, right? So sometimes we start a business just vibes, probably you've seen a need and you want to fill that need, but you can do this simple exercise. Just Google, what is the market for maybe hair industry in Nigeria? What is the market for the fashion industry in Nigeria, or whatever it is that you're doing? By the time you see what the market says, you will see how much what's it called? You see how much your industry is valued at in the next 5 to 10 years. And this is what all these statistics are for. So by the time you see it, it's going to do something to your mind, right? It's going to make you see that there is also a market for you. There is a need that you're feeling. And because of the money that you will see there, because it's in dollars, your eye is going to open up to practice all these things that our speakers have mentioned today. So if you probably join late and you feel that, oh, I might not have I might have missed on some of the things they have said. You don't need to worry. We've recorded this session. I will be uploading it on our YouTube channel. So please head on to our YouTube channel to go watch the replay. I would share my screen on what our page looks like. But for now, if you have any questions, please drop them in the comment section. And Online Banker, I don't know if you have any closing remarks or anything extra that you'd like to say. Please, over to you. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, no, just I'm sorry first of all, sorry for joining late. My closing remark to everybody is that we are live well, if you need to understand right now that your competition is no longer local. If you think that Mama Nkechi or Sharon or James that has one supermarket or something that is your competition is no longer local. Your competition is now global. And if you can look at yourself in that light, you can tap into the new economy that is coming. See, guys, there's a lot happening on the internet space. We keep hearing AI and all that and disruption and how it's going to affect. Slowly, it's happening, but surely it's happening. And we need to look at the ways that we can manage our businesses. Luca has already brought up ideas on how you manage your inventory and all that. Those are the basic knowledge that you have. Translate that into being able to sell your product, and find good data for how your product can be sold. If you can work with that, trust me, you can mitigate the current economic downturns that we have in the country. And you can follow me on across platforms, Online Banker, on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and on my LinkedIn profile has actually been disabled, so I'm recognized as Stanley Honora Online Banker, one word. So it's nice connecting with everyone here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Online Banker. So apparently, I think that everything that was shared was actually quite detailed, and every single person here has learned a thing or two, and we definitely are going to practice everything we have heard. So just to share more about Luca, so this is our website. You can follow us on Instagram. We are Luca Africa HQ on Instagram. On Twitter, we are Luca Africa HQ. On YouTube, I'll be sharing our YouTube page soon. So we'll upload this video on YouTube and you can get access to it anytime. So please, for your inventory management, please download Looker. For staff management, download Looker. For business performance, to see which product sells faster, which product does not, to even manage debts, right? So let's say, okay, you sold something on credit and you always forget, you always sell things on credit to people, but you don't remember. Looker will do it for you. They will send them notifications as regards to why you need to, they'll send them notifications so that they can pay you on the set date that you have chosen. So we do inventory management as well. We have so many other things that we do on Looker. So download Looker today and start soaring and thriving in your business. I believe I'm just going to ask one more time. Please, do we have any questions? If yes, please type them or raise your hands. And if no, then I would say we've come to the end of this insightful session. I just want to thank everyone for joining this. But before we go, I just want to ask randomly one or two people, what is that one thing you're taking away from this webinar? I'm just going to call at random. What is that one thing, one or two things you're taking away from this webinar today? So it's beyond just listening. What are you taking away from this webinar? So please raise your hands. I'll just call at random. One, two, should I call? What is that one thing you took away from this webinar? I'm going to call names, so please don't drop off. Don't drop off the call. Okay. All right. Please speak, Sylvia. You can speak, please. All right.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hi, good afternoon.
First of all, thanks, Mr. Tayo. I don't know if he's still in the group, and
No,
thank
yes,
you,
of
Online
course.
Banker. It was actually a very insightful section. being a business strategist myself, I learned a lot, and I learned the survive first what do you call it? The survive first principle Mr. Tayo's share was very insightful for me, especially the part where he said, "What's your cost?" I'll actually have the question for him, but going through everything he said, I got to understand more. What's your cost, vary your pricing, revisit value proposition. It was very insightful. That's my take home. Thank you, Luca, for organizing this section. Thank you to our host.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Someone else says, I'm taking away 2 points. I'm taking 2 points from this. Someone said, watching costs and varying your pricing. Okay, thank you. I'm going to call on someone else. Something that you've taken away from what the online banker said. I'm going to ask Cindy to please speak. Over to you, Cindy. Hello, can you hear me? Hello, Cindy, are you on? We can't hear you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay. So the one thing I took away from the class was when he was talking about necessity, people falling back to necessity. That's from the first speaker, and it really hit me because they brought an explanation for something I was experiencing in my own business, you understand, and all that, and realizing how the market for selling your knowledge was beginning to shift and change gradually. It is not moving like it used to be before, because people are beginning to cut out. I don't need to learn this at this rate if I can get it at a cheaper price. So that really gave me that explanation. Then the second, from the second speaker, online banker, I'm a great fan. I always watch all his videos on TikTok. So hearing him speak was interesting. So hearing him talk about the online marketing and how things are changing online, but most importantly, about actually checking your business and being sure that you're actually profitable. It's not like you are just running, you're actually profitable and all that. And he also buttressed the point of the first speaker when he suggested apps that can help you. These are things they used to hire people to do and all that, but now apps can help you.
Like
You run the
Luca
business
Africa.
completely by yourself.
Luca is here for you for that.
Yeah. Exactly. And you run the apps, you use the app, and then you run the business by yourself. You don't need to hire a separate accountant, bookkeeper, and all of that. If you cannot afford that yet, you can use all of those apps. So these are the things I took from the class. Thank you so much for putting this together, Luca. This was an amazing. So I hope there's another one coming up soon, because we're looking forward to it.
All right. Thank you very much. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much, online banker. Thank you, Stanley. So finally, before we wrap up, I'm just going to share our YouTube page. So we have different videos. So when you download Luca and you're wondering how to go about it, how to use the money in, money out features, we have different videos here to help you navigate the Luca app easily. So we show you how to recover your customers' debts faster, how to sign in using referral code, how to add a new product on Luca. There's also business registration. I'm so sorry that I omitted it. So if you've started your business, you've not yet registered, Luca can help you register. We have that feature on our app. So just download it. We have different videos just to help you navigate Luca and understand Luca better. And if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. So thank you so much for joining today's webinar. This video will be uploaded on our YouTube channel. I'm just going to share the link in the chat box. So please follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Our handle is Luca Africa HQ, and on YouTube, Luca Africa. So I'll be sharing the link to our YouTube channel in the chat box. Please follow us and learn more about Luca. Thank you all for joining. Here is the link. Please just follow us now like this, our YouTube channel, so you can watch the replay of this session. Thank you all. I'm just going to chill a little bit for us all to just copy the link and go straight to YouTube. And please do not forget to follow, like, share. Thank you so much, online banker. Thank you, Mr. Oshiemi. Thank you, every single one of you that joined. Thank you, Goodman Sylvia. Thank you, Ezine. Thank you, Folashade Olajide. Thank you, Adewale. Thank you, Amani. Thank you, Fikayo. Thank you, Osisonwo. Thank you, Fumi. Thank you, Deborah. Thank you, Cindy. And have a great day, everyone. Bye. Thank you so much. You can watch the replay on YouTube. Bye-bye. Thank you.